Harvey Smith, co-creative director at Arkane, working on Dishonored.
I am Raphael Colantonio, co-creative director working at Arkane on Dishonored.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the world that you're building in Dishonored? Because it's not your typical fantasy world. It's something different.
Right, so this world was created in collaboration with Victor Antonov. He was the art director for Half-Life 2 back then. And so it's a collaboration between us two and Victor, and Sébastien Mitton is the art director. So we started with... it's nothing that really exists in another game, right? It's a creation of a new IP, and we started with going very grounded with London in the 1600s. It was historical, and then we decided to add some elements to it. So we added the layer of technologies, alternate technologies, a new kind of industrial revolution. We added like different historical elements, and then little by little it just became our own world. And at this point it's just like, the gadgetry that are in the games, or the powers, the way we justify supernatural powers, the religion, everything has been created from scratch to become our own universe.
Yeah, in Dishonored, you play this supernatural assassin in this retro-future world that Raph is talking about, and it's in the middle of a terrible plague that has killed half the population, and therefore everybody is desperate and mean. Just years before, the city figured out how to harvest whales and take their oil, their blubber, and make it into oil that's very volatile. So they've gone through this alternate industrial revolution, and they have all these bizarre security devices. Most of the game takes place in the city of Dunwall. Yeah, we put a lot of effort into it. We created our own calendar for it, 13 months of 28 days each. Our own religion, as Raph said. So it's been super exciting.
Don't you think that this could be a little bit too strange for a lot of players?
Well, this is a good question, I guess. But Raph and I are very much driven by the desire to do something new, and we believe in deep, cohesive fiction behind the world. So to give it context, at the end of the day, it's all about the gameplay, right? It's a game with where you can approach it very combat-driven, or you can approach according to stealth. You have all these mobility, movement abilities. You have a variety of different powers. The AI is very analog, and you can mix these things together. So then in a playthrough, it's your own unique experience when you go through a map. But it's not a guarantee that you're going to be successful as a game if you just make the same world that everyone has seen over and over, the same medieval world, or the same soldier world, or the same space world, or whatever. And so we just kind of go where our interests and the interests of our team take us. You want to add to that?
As to isn't the world a little too strange? Is it a risk? I think it's not, because like the way it's designed, is not in a strange way. Again, like Victor, the way Victor works, he's very he works like an historian. He's a very interesting person. Like he works everything very, very logically in terms of like what if. So what if the Industrial Revolution was not this one but was another one? And so at the end you obtain something that looks really real, like not bizarre. It looks like familiar, but it's not reality. It's a different kind of reality. So it takes players to it makes them travel in a place which actually looks real, and that's what matters, I think.
Not even is the world itself strange, but the graphics, the style of the game is, I think, very iconic. It's like, I think it's looking like looking on a painting or stuff. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, Sébastien Mitton is our art director, and he and Victor work side by side, and they work with me and Raph and the team. And all along, we knew we wanted like some elements that were not exactly the same as other games. Like, it is 3D, it's got lighting and all that, that you'd expect in a modern game, but the texturing is a little impressionistic or a little watercolory.
Yeah, there's watercolor. There's a filter on every of our material to make it like very special. Like this, we call it internally, we call it the Miyazaki filter, because it feels like painting. And so yeah, they've been working on that.
And the colors we use and all that, the palette, so And even the faces, we said everyone in the world should have kind of a broken, crooked face, right? Like a lot of broken noses, a lot of misshapen faces, and it's cool because it gives the world a lot of character and richness. And again, the gameplay focus with the chaos system and how you approach every situation, either intense combat or lots of sneaky, self-paced stealth. Those are the things that we think players will remember the most. The way they combined the powers to do something creative, combinations of powers that we haven't even figured out. But certainly the world and the art direction, the way it looks, is an important piece to us.
When I first saw the game, it looked like for me like a mixture of BioShock and Half-Life 2. Is that a good comparison for you, or don't you like it?
We'll be happy with that comparison.
Well, I mean, we work on immersive sims, right? So we like these first-person immersive action games that have a mix of a little RPG flavor. So, Raph is known for Arx Fatalis, and I worked with Warren Spector and the team on Deus Ex, and then also on Invisible War. We love games that our friends have worked on, like BioShock and Thief and Far Cry 2. We love that kind of immersive, in-the-world, very cohesive game. So we hope we're creating something that people who like that will absolutely love. Yeah.
For me, it was stunning, really, the atmosphere and everything. You have sword fighting in your game. Did you take something from Dark Messiah with it? With you?
Yes, I mean, since we did Dark Messiah, of course, there is some similarities in the approach, like combat design. We had a lot of experience with that. So it's the same animators, and a lot of the things that we learned with Dark Messiah we reapplied, but we made it more direct. The combat this time is like it's not a combat game. I mean, combat is one of the tools, one of the things that you can do, but for us it's more about the feeling and this viscerality about it, more than like is it a combo game or whatever.
Also, don't you think maybe deeper on the powers and stealth?
Yeah. So, but I think if we were just referring to the melee part of it, then that's why I was saying that it's at the end of the day it's more like a combination of like how the player tactically uses like melee combat together with the powers and together with the stealth, like surprising his enemies before going into real combat, etc.
So, unfortunately, the last question: is there any chance that in any day in the future you will continue working on The Crossing?
The Crossing right now is on hold, and we don't know yet.